Inside an old castle on the European continent, there is a female mosquito that doesn't know what she's doing. Seeing a 666-year-old male vampire just waking up, he flew up and took a bite. The vampire smacked him in the face. But the mosquito escaped. He planned to leave the country for a while. When he got off the plane in Seoul, he switched to a van. On the way, the truck almost got into an accident. The drivers of both sides quarreled. Mosquito flew out of the car to check it out. He saw that the other driver was always yelling at him. He wanted to go up to the driver to give him a bit of color. The man was bitten by the Cold War. He went up and slapped him, and smacked the mosquito to pieces. The world's first vampire to cross the border. The mosquito is dead. The man's eyes are a bit disoriented. Things in front of his eyes start to blur. At night, he went crazy. When he woke up the next day, his eyes were golden and his fangs were long. The man was scared to death. When he reconfirmed it, he was back to normal again. The man's name is Kevin. He's a detective at the police station. Lucy hurriedly brought the professor to her house. The professor asked for some old things to make a circle. Lucy had no shortage of such things in her house. When the floor was ready, Lucy brought in her sister. By this time, the professor was dying. But he still tried to activate the spell. As the spell began, all the antiques began to lift off the ground. Even the professor floated. Everything in the room was attracted to it and spun around rapidly. Due to the fact that it took too much energy to activate the spell, the professor suddenly fell to the ground with a roar and lost his breath on the spot. Looking at the blood on his hands, the mummy in the cabinet, and his sister in the wheelchair, Lucy's hopes were dashed once again. Lucy crouched down on the sofa with disappointment. She didn't expect Jace to suddenly wake up. The mummy, who had been asleep for 5,000 years, suddenly came back to life. Lucy hoped that Jace could save her sister. But Jace said he wasn't a doctor, but a nuclear physicist. Doctors are always buried next to pharaohs. Unfortunately, the mummy wasn't the one Lucy was looking for. They made their way to the museum. Jace opened the door easily with a spell. They came to the pharaoh's coffin. Jace opened the lid with a spell. Then the pharaoh sat up. When the pharaoh heard that it was just to save a man, he woke him up from his dream. He looked a little upset. After Lucy's tearful speech, Pharaoh was moved to agree. The doctor came to check on his sister's condition, and then Pharaoh kissed her. When the pharaoh had finished taking advantage of her, he walked away. The sisters suddenly sat up. The two of them embraced happily. Seeing that the job was done, Jace turned around and left. He led a group of mummies to the street. The fat man who was stunned just woke up, has not yet taken 2 steps forward. Pharaoh felt that people nowadays are still skilled. If a pyramid was built, it would look perfect. But now it's more important to go home. The boy came to Lucy with flowers in his hand but was invited inside by his sister, and Lucy, with a hat full of grass, and boarded the Titanic, and began a new adventure.